I really wanted to like Ragnarok Odyssey. It seemed like just the game Vita needed. But the fact is, it's just not very good. Whether you're talking about combat, character progression, story, customization, or just about anything else, Ragnarok Odyssey simply doesn't live up to the game it could have been. The hallmark of most great role-playing games is the story, and Ragnarok Odyssey just doesn't seem to have one. See, while Ragnarok Odyssey is based upon the world of the Ragnarok Online MMO, a Korean game launched elsewhere in the world about a decade ago, that doesn't excuse the fact that there's barely a plot here. You'll have archetypical characters to speak to. For instance, the rogue guy who does what he wants, the female knight who's too closely attached to the word of the king, and a trio of quirky sales girls who sell you wares but have very little to add to the conversation. But you'll never care about any of them, nor will you care about the vague yarn they're attempting to weave. When you first turn on Ragnarok Odyssey, you'll be greeted by an amazing animated video showing these 4 nameless characters taking on some enemies. It's an impressive display, but like great NES box art hiding a subpar game underneath it, it may lull you into an unearned sense of security. The actual in-game graphics are far less appealing, but frankly, the way the game looks, and sounds for that matter, isn't what really drags Ragnarok Odyssey down. No, it's how the game plays and how the systems surrounding gameplay are shallow and at times nonsensical. Ragnarok Odyssey's core gameplay isn't inherently flawed. If you like mindless hack and slash games and the opportunity to change character classes at will, then Ragnarok Odyssey may be up your alley. After all, we all like those kinds of experiences every once in a while. But it's everything surrounding the core gameplay that brings the entire package down. Ragnarok Odyssey may seem fun for an hour or two, but there's no hook. There's nothing there to keep the experience fresh or interesting. It's ruthlessly repetitive. Combat is button mashy if you're playing as a sword or blade wielding foe. Those wanting to use a bow or some magic will have a different, albeit still predictable, experience. Players will be thrust into the same maps over and over again, fighting the same foes over and over again as they complete hazy, predictable quests, like kill this many enemies and find these random items. But you likely already did both of those things 10 times already on the very map you're put back on. It's repetitive to an absurd degree. I couldn't take more than about 50 quests before I gave up trying to extract any enjoyment from the experience. Apart from combat, the systems in the game, developing your character, finding and upgrading equipment, and all the rest are cumbersome, frustrating, and unfulfilling. Your character in the game doesn't have a level, and there are no experience points. Everything hinges on completing clusters of quests aptly named chapters to permanently raise your statistics. But bashing away on enemies nets you nothing but loot. I'm an RPG fan through and through, and can't possibly think of something more unsatisfying in a game I want to spend dozens of hours with. The loot itself could have been the draw of Ragnarok Odyssey, but you'd be hard-pressed to find an in-game loot and upgrading system more vague and obtuse. The game does a terrible job of explaining what your loot does, why it's important, or how it's used. When you go to the blacksmith or tailor to upgrade your weapons and armor, you shouldn't have to toggle through 4 menus to see what loot you're missing in order to refine something. The game should just tell you. And then there's the card system, the way Ragnarok Odyssey was supposed to get around its leveling deficit. By mixing and matching cards, you can give your player more strength, hit points, AP, and more. But like upgrading and refining, this system also falls prey to poor menu design and a lack of explanation. Ragnarok Odyssey is a disappointment. It's not bad, it's just boring and repetitive. I have no doubt in my mind that there are players out there who will eat this game up. But to the vast majority of Vita owners, I'll simply say this: you deserve better. This isn't the game it could have been. This isn't the Monster Hunter replacement some speculated it would be, and now I kind of understand why we never saw a translated, localized version of it until 3 weeks before it was released. Save your money on Ragnarok Odyssey. There are plenty of better games on Vita. For more on PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation Network, keep it tuned to IGN.